and he's going to explain everything that's happened. And then I'll break down how this might actually be pretty beneficial towards me involving a certain lawsuit. So, but let's go ahead and see what Corny had to say about Bappa and the whole Kast Media podcast one fiasco that's happening. They owe Corny a bunch of money, but let's see what Corny had to say.
Not because of the banks and the VC clowns. Anyway, so once again, Rob Ellen protecting Colin Thompson here. What's behind that?
Oh, well, he says, so we stepped in and we said, hey, this guy put together one of the greatest lineups in podcasting. You got Rob Dial and Brendan Schaub and Whitney Cummings. It's just a massive lineup. And you got to give him a lot of credit. But you also got to help them, right? And we couldn't just step in and bail them out of the problem. We had to slowly try to fix as much as we could. So this is the part I love. So whoever wants to come and be a real partner and change the economics, the 80-20 deals are all before. They're never happening again. There have to be fair deals that both partners can make money. Brian, our 80-20 deal that we have with our new advertising agency is never going to happen again, even though it's currently happening.
It's never going to happen with a company like Podcast One that's unsustainable. They need to try to grab back as much of a percentage as they can from the creators for really unjust reasons. Go get an advertiser and pay a reasonable rate. You don't need a company like this. What are they going to do? They're going to pay your hosting? They're going to cover that? Hey, listen, if you're making any money with your podcast, do your own fucking hosting then. What would they do that would necessitate a 60-40 split, which is what we saw? Are they going to spend a lot of money marketing and advertising your show? Probably not. They don't have a lot of money. They're trading everything for stock. The parent company says that they have to pay their judgment. They're out of business. But he's trying to give all these shows, according to him, a good deal. We've done terrific so far. We've announced a couple, including more news. Millions of dollars are moving over. We said it could be as high as $10 million. And I would say we'll be halfway there shortly. And there's no reason why we can't get all the way there. Yeah, there is.
Good. Then they can pay the $10 million judgment and be back where they started from.
So again, this goes to the idea of what really went wrong with Kast. The revenue streams are fine. Every show has advertisers. The advertisers pay. That's the revenue stream. It's the person managing the stream who diverted those funds to unknown places. That's the problem.
He's a beaver. He's building a dam in the middle of the stream, diverting the stream.
There have to be fair deals so both partners can make money. What does your company do, Rob, that any podcast would really need? You have a shit team. Your hosting can be done by anyone. Your distribution can be done by anyone. You have no good marketing or advertising. Your production doesn't really matter. What do you do that would cause a 60-40 split to be in any way acceptable? Nothing.
And that question you were asking is of a gentleman named Rob Ellen, E-L-L-I-N, who claims to be the CEO. You can't take any of these people at their word. Claims to be the CEO of Live One.
That's right. And once again, he's a mook. Let's go back to him here. We've spoken to every podcaster. We've offered really fair deals. Equity in our IPO to help them. They have got to decide for themselves whether or not they want to go to another platform. No other platform is going to pay them for the past. They're only going to work with them in the future. No, we know that, Rob. You're holding our money hostage. We get that.
Well, no. We
are working with Colin to hold our money hostage. We completely understand.
We expect that if Joe down the street owes us money and won't pay us, that we could go to Bill across town and he'll pay it. No, we don't think that. We don't think another platform is going to pay the money that we are owed from this other guy. We thought he should have done it.
That's right. Rob, we think you're a mook. If YouTube would allow cunt, we'd call you a cunt. Back to this. It has to be a win for everybody. I really hope more podcasters come over. Even if they just come over the distribution platform, they could get paid.
Wait a minute, are we allowed to come over the distribution platform? It sounds messy.
We'll all run it for them. We'll help you. And if you get to know us well, and you get to see what we do, nobody's going to leave. You're not
going to be able to afford to.
You're not going to see a small company that is more entwined and entrenched with their creators. We're a white glove, hands-on partnership. We're going to keep holding their hands and keep growing with them.
Well, now I'm kind of insulted. The guy won't hold my hand till he puts a glove on?
You do nothing. You do nothing. You can't create shows that people care about. You're not producing shows from scratch that people will care about. You can find things that work and try to latch onto their fucking revenue stream. That's all this is. You bring nothing to the table, Rob. You don't even bring cash. You don't even bring fucking cash. Pre-IPO stock in my bullshit company that I'm trying to fuck everyone over on. Back to Rob Ellen here. We've gone through tough times with Podcast One before we acquired it. We made it clear to them, you cannot move with a fistful of anger. You have to move over where you truly are in partnership with us. There may be some words missing here.
Transcription issues possibly here, or maybe he's just having a small stroke.
And all of us want to grow and build together and do something great together. And even if we do something great together, we make history together. You're going to make your money back. Holy shit. It all comes back to you're not getting any of your money unless you have to work with me and my awful team.
And then you'll make your money back.
And by the way, how good is this team? They're hiring Colin Thompson. They're hiring the guy who blew millions of dollars. He had a company that was making multi-million dollars a year. Every single year. It was a very simple thing they had to do. All that money disappeared. Somehow this guy's getting a life vest. And all of his shows are getting screwed. We're not, because we didn't have a contract. And also, we're willing to say, fuck you, we're going to do it our own way. And look at this. Look at the quotes from this mook. Would anyone want to work for this mook? Would anyone want to work for this mook company?
I just have one question to ask you, Brian Last. Is mook a word that's going to get us kicked off of anything?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So here's the next question. I'll let you read the question. I'll answer the question.
Oh, so the acquisition is around shows. It's not around staff of Kast Media. It's around the shows and the creative.
Because again, the original stuff we heard from them was that our cast team was coming forward. The original press release about the weird sale of certain assets was about the team coming over. Here's Rob Ellen. We looked at all their assets. We don't want people to lose jobs. We want to try to help them. We're growing fast.
Wait a minute. Let me just say one thing. You can read the next 3 paragraphs, but that is the last thing that he says to address the question that was asked about the staff of Kast Media. And then he starts talking about how they're growing and their revenue that they think this quarter and the blah, blah, blah. He doesn't talk about any of the people that worked for Kast or whether they still exist in the company or on this planet.
There's a lot more fluff.
It's just gaga.
It's a lot more fluff here, a lot more him trying to build up his company. Even when in the emails that we read on the show, I said, Podcast One fucking sucks. No one wants to be involved with that shit company. Even then he was like writing to you, we're worth $100 million. Where's the cash?
Yeah, well, that's, remember I said, well, if you're worth $100 million, you only owe us a couple $100,000.
This guy's such a mook, and podcasting is his newest grift. And now he's trying to spin this off from his other company to be a stock, which I guess in a sense would be paying for all of this stuff that he's trying to do now, which in our estimation, based on everything we've learned, everything we've discovered, everything we have documented, includes trying to use his stock to compensate shows, including us, for fraud. Trying to use pre-IPO stock to repay people who had their money stolen because of fraud. That's Rob Ellen, the CEO of Live One. He's helping out Colin Thompson, CEO of Kast Media, who's responsible for millions of missing dollars. This stinks. These two people stink. I'm sure they smell like fucking fish. And I think...
Don't insult fish. They didn't do anything to you.
We need to do more each and every week to make sure more and more people know about this, know their names, know what they're up to, and know what they're all about. And that's what we're going to do.
And if you buy stock or you have investments of any kind or you have investment brokers or whatever, tell them stay away. from Live One or Podcast One until somebody wants to explain why they associate with people who commit malfeasance and misappropriation.
Hey, I'll say another thing. In that email he wrote to you, remember when he tried to go around my back thinking that somehow that would work and go to you directly, he said he's been a partner with WWE for 40 plus years. We have a lot of people in the office listening to this show. If anyone remembers Rob Ellen doing any business with WWE 40 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 20 years ago, please
Or
let us
last
know.
week.
Or any of the involvement with him or any of his associated companies since then. Get in touch with us. Let us know. Let us know if he owes you money.
Okay, so I love the initial first dig at Brendan Schaub. He's got great talent over there, like Brendan Schaub and Whitney Cummings. Because before that, this was a long video. This was like over 20 minutes. And before that, they were talking about how none of the shows on that Podcast One thing get any views on YouTube. So giving Bappa the necessary trashing he deserves. But he exposed something that is very interesting. So, Brendan Schaub complained, as we know from Mark Harley, that Kast Media stole $1.4 million from him. Then Jim Cornette says the same exact thing. What they just exposed is Brendan Schaub signed another deal with Kast Media, who is now Podcast One, or Live One, or whatever it's called now. And in exchange, he's not going to get that $1.4 million back. They're going to give him stock in a company that's not yet public, in a company that's failing, because they have Brendan Schaub on it. So Brendan Schaub is getting screwed out of his money. They said strong-armed out of it, because they say, hey, the only way you're going to get it is if you sign a new deal and we'll just give you some stock. Which obviously you can tell Cornette's not taking that deal. And lawyers are involved, and Cornette is going to sue these people. But Brendan Schaub's not going to sue them. You want to know why Brendan Schaub's not going to sue them? Because Brendan Schaub used his lawyers and all his lawsuit money on me. Now I'm wondering, by the way, how much of The Fighter and the Kid do that Kast Media or Podcast One now own? Because they signed separate deals. Cornette, all he did was an advertising deal. Meaning, like, you wouldn't go to Kast Media or Podcast One to see the Jim Cornette thing. No, he just does that on his own site. So he had a different deal than what Schaub had. And the other people have. We have actual deals, and they're going to be on their Podcast One site. I'm assuming the audio only. I might have to bring this up in court. I might have to see that deal, because if he's suing for copyright, I wonder how much of that he technically owns now. I don't know how that deal works, but maybe something I should bring up. But just hilarious that he has to take that deal, stock in a company that's not even public yet, a company that's failing, a company that has a $10 million judgment against it and says it can't pay it or it'll go bankrupt. And they've hitched their North Star to Brendan Schaub and Whitney Cummings. And to be fair, I think Adam Carolla too, but I like Adam Carolla, but let's keep it real. The numbers on Adam Carolla thing aren't there anymore. So, but I love these little updates Cornette keeps doing too, because it's just letting me know the behind the scenes thing that's happening. And it's amazing how everything lines up with each other. Like Mark Harley says, Brendan Schaub's not paying his employees because he's complaining that he got ripped off for $1.4 million. Then a few days later, you find out why through Jim Cornette and it's this whole Kast Media thing. And apparently there's a huge scandal happening here, and lawyers are going to get involved. But, of course, Brendan Schaub just signed the deal and took the stock. Oof. Sad. Terrible. Bet you they promised him a lot of new stuff, though. He's got a new studio nobody cares about. Pretty funny, though. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.